Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dina Rohmatul Azizah from Biology Class D. I will explain a matter about the history of Islamic civilization in Central Asia. Previously, I apologize if there was a mistake in delivering the matter because I am still in the process of learning. Before entering the matter, I will explain about what I will tell you first, which is about Central Asia and cities that have a history in Islamic civilization at the time. Central Asia is a beautiful country when viewed from ahead. It seems like green expanse because of its natural beauty. The country is among the two major rivers, the Jaihun River and the Saihun River. Along with the flow of the two rivers, the legacy of Islamic civilization continues to flow, even to the point of coloring the sky of Europe. So, Islamic civilization in the region continues to this day, even around the world. Transoxiana or Mawaro an-Nahar country, which means the country across the river, is a term for all regions in Central Asia today. Cities covering the region include Bukhara, Samarkand, Naisabur, Tbilisi, Nasaf, Baihaq, and Khwarizmi. The Central Asian term referring to Transoxiana was used in the 19th century by the Great British rule that ruled India. If we have already discussed the introduction of the matter, now we will go into the main topic, the beginning of Islam into Central Asia. Then, how did it start? Central Asia has been touched by Islam since the beginning of its development. The conquest of Islam to the Transoxiana region had begun since the reign of Umar bin Khattab in the 634 till 644 AD and continued until the reign of Muawiyah bin Abu Sufyan. Muawiyah bin Abu Sufyan was known as the founder and first caliph of the Umayyad dynasty. The conquest had been stopped because of the revolutionary movement and rebellion. So, the presence of Islam in the region is not fully well received, but there are also people who reject and rebel, even carry out revolutionary movements. However, the conquest was continued by Abdul Malik bin Marwan in the 685 till 705 AD, after he managed to unite local people. Abdul Malik bin Marwan was one of the longest reigning caliphs of the Umayyad dynasty. At the time, Abdul Malik bin Marwan managed to unite the community after the rebellion. Abdul Malik bin Marwan, with the help of Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf, conquered parts of Transoxiana. Since then, Islam has grown independently. Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf was an intelligent ruler, politician, and defense minister of the Umayyad dynasty. Al-Hajjaj also served as governor of Baghdad city. Furthermore, In the 609 AD, Al-Hajjaj designated Al-Muhallab bin Abi Sufrah to lead the conquest of Transoxiana. They managed to cross the river Amu Darya and stop by Nufus. Not long after, Muhallab died and was succeeded by his son named Yazid. After Yazid managed to take control of Nizak fortress in Baghdad at 703 AD. After that, Al-Hajjaj replaced it with Al-Mufaddal bin Muhallab. Al-Mufaddal is known to have managed to control the territory of Baghdad and Shawman. After Abdul Malik bin Marwan died, power has replaced by his son Al-Walid. He led the Umayyad dynasty to the pinnacle of power in the west and east. At the time, the map of Islamic power was the largest in history, as it covered three continents, namely Asia, Africa, and Europe. The expansion of territory was divided into two important parts, namely the western part for the battle against the Romans in Asia Minor and the eastern part for the conquest in North Africa to Andalusia, led by Musa bin Nusair. In this, a military expedition was carried out by Al-Hajjaj bin Yusuf as-Saqafi to the north of Central Asia, covering the Transoxiana region. The conquest of Transoxiana region continued during the time of Al-Walid, under the leadership of the commander Qutaybah bin Muslim. Qutaybah bin Muslim was governor of Khurasan during the Umayyad dynasty under the Khalif Al-Walid. Qutaybah is also very instrumental in the spread of Islam in Central Asia. He was known as a brave, assertive, and intelligent leader. He was also an expert in horseback riding and mastered combat techniques. After being appointed governor of Khorasan, he gathered the Khorasans to seek support from the Khorasan people. After receiving support from the Khorasan people, he immediately began his military expedition by inspecting his troops and weapons. In addition, Qutaybah also perfected the arrangement and mobilization of troops while leading them out of Oxus to Kharistan. Then, in the 705 AD, Qutaybah entered Tukharistan to conquer. The people of Tukharistan bowed to him without any war. Later, Qutaybah with the inhabitants made an agreement and paid tax. 1 year later, Qutaybah continued to assault on Bikan area, which is one of the cities in Bukhara province. Qutaybah and his troops continued to enter the Transoxiana region until in 708 AD. Qutaybah arrived at the border of Bukhara, namely Shakda. Previously, I have explained that in the previous Caliphate, Transoxiana had been conquered but only half. So, during Qutaybah's time, he attempted to continue to conquer Transoxiana. In the 710 to 712 AD, he managed to control parts of Samarkand and western Khwarezmi. A year later, Qutaybah began conquering the Jaxartes region, especially Fergana. He managed to control the area in 714 AD. With his persistence, Qutaybah managed to control the entire Transoxiana region. So, after various efforts, he managed to conquer the entire region of Transoxiana. After Qutaybah conquest, on the next caliph, there was no more conquest in the Transoxiana region. So, during the reign of the next caliph, there was no more conquest in Transoxiana because it had been controlled by Qutaybah. The Islamic State cases to reach Kasgar, which borders China. This was because the situation and condition that befell the Umayyad dynasty did not allow for the conquest. The caliphs after Qutaybah, there were frequent rebellions. In addition, competition continues to occur among his family. The area that Qutaybah had conquered, Transoxiana, again rebelled and violated the treaty. This resulted in the caliphs, after Qutaybah being preoccupied with subduing the rebellion and returning them to the original rule. Despite the many problems, the development of Islam in Transoxiana is very fast. Many people in Transoxiana converted to Islam. The caliphs continued to strive to spread Islamic teachings to the inhabitants of Transoxiana. Although there is still a conflict between the inhabitants of Transoxiana and the rulers of the Umayyad dynasty, the movement to spread Islam in the region continues. Now we get into a new topic about the development of Islam civilization in Central Asia. First, there are developments in the sector of hadith science. Perhaps many of you already know Imam Bukhari. Now, who is Imam Bukhari? Imam Bukhari is a scholar and developer of hadith science. In addition to Imam Bukhari, there is also Imam Muhammad bin Ismail with his famous work Al-Jami'ah As-Sahih. Secondly, there is development in the sector of kalam science. The figure that we already know is Imam al-Maturidi is an important printer of books, namely the book of Al-Tawhid and Surah Al-Fiqh Al-Akbar. It is a surah for the treatise of Abu Hanifah on the subject of belief. Third, development in Sufism. His character is Hoja Ahmed Yasawi, who is known as the father of the majority of the order in Central Asia and other regions of Turkey. Fourth, there are developments in the sector of architecture. In the sector of architecture, Central Asia follows the Persian style with one characteristic. The meaning is a rectangular arched roof room with one side open. Another element of architecture in the Central Asia region is pistak, an entrance with colorful ceramics. 5. There are development in education. Muhammad bin Musa al-Khwarizmi was a mathematician who formulated arithmetic, algorithmic, and algebraic theories. His work is Al-Mukhtasar fi Hisab al-Jabar wa al-Muqabalah. Lastly, there have been development in astronomy. In addition to his role in education, Muhammad bin Musa al-Khwarizmi also researched lunar anomalies, eclipses, and parallaxes. Other scientists besides al-Khwarizmi is Abu Rayhan al-Biruni, who is the author of the book Qanun al-Mas'ud, which discusses the direction of motion of the Earth's rotation and geometric concept of the solar system. In addition to the six development that I have mentioned, there are also development in the sector of technology, namely the emergence of paper-making technology that can be produced to write information. Then in a topic, I will explain about the evidence of Islamic heritage in Central Asia. Central Asia has an important historic value in the history of Islamic civilization because it was once the basis of Islamic power in Asia. Central Asia is not only the center of civilization and scientific center, but also as a trade silk road that shapes the world economy. Few people know that in Central Asia there are traces of Islamic civilization. In addition, the region prints many prominent Muslim theologians, philosophers, scholars, and scientists whose work is referenced in the East and West. Bukhara and Samarkand were two centers of Islamic development in the Central Asian region between the 10th and 12th centuries. Evidence of Islamic heritage in this region is a mosque with a beautiful tower. Examples of mosques are Hoja Aror Mosque and on the outskirts of Samarkand and 13 other mosques in Tashkent. Some of these mosques are the work of prominent scholars and religious experts. Another of Islamic heritage in this area is that many locals convert to Islam and instill sociocultural aspect, art, and Islamic knowledge. Ethnic Turks and Arabs also come to the region a lot. Then, slowly, they along with the locals converted to Islam. Another Islamic heritage building in Samarkand is Shah-i-Zindal. However, over time, many buildings were broken due to destruction and natural disaster. However, there has been an attempt to renovate the historical relics above. The governments of Tashkent, Samarkand, Bukhara, and Haifa have repaired the walls of each old mosque, strengthened the foundation of mosque's tower, replaced lost or cracked ceramics, and relayered the dome of the mosque. This is an example of the legacy of Islamic civilization in Central Asia. The left is Hoja Aror Mosque and the right is Shah Izinda. Now, the conclusion is Transoceania or Mawaro an-Nahar or land across the river is a term for the region in Central Asia today. In Transoceania, there are two important cities in the history of Islamic civilization in Central Asia, namely Samarkand and Bukhara. The conquest of Transoxiana had begun since the reign of Umar bin Khattab. Various efforts continued during the Umayyad dynasty with its commander by Hajjaj bin Yusuf. After various ways, Transoxiana was finally able to be mastered by Utaybah bin Muslim, a brave, assertive, and intelligent commander. The conquest is known to take 9 years. Well, that's my explanation. I apologize if there are shortcomings in explaining, but in terms of theory and language. If there are criticism and suggestion can be submitted through comment. Well, thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.